when they could leave me up there to ride. I didn't care. I was going to see Funkadelic, you know. And when those major shows started going from state to state to state, what's up, Linda? I love you. Yeah, we're gonna get a little bit of that. Is what I do. It's what I am. I pulled that video up just for you, sweetheart. It's when I in New York. Hi, Linda. How are you? Morning, love. What I did is, since I lived in New York, I could go to the same show in New York, in New Jersey, in Philadelphia, and in Connecticut. So there was 4 ways I could catch this Budweiser Superfest. Rick James was on it. He had just came out with Super Freak. You know, that was red hot. Tina Marie was there. So within the course of a summer, I saw about 12 times 5 times 50. I saw about 60 acts in like 3 days, 4 days. You know what I mean? And it was real. It was like, I got an education. I got to hang out, peace and love. There was never any problems with anything. You know, the police, they always gonna try to harass you and hassle you. But, you know, back then in the 70s, you know, people just wanted to get into their music thing and vibe. And most of the cops kind of, you know, understood that, as long as nobody was being really reckless about stuff, you know. You can see I'm all tangled up here. That's okay. The energy, I got to make sure my energy is always right. But anyway, when I started understanding the business side, I thought to myself, how are all these people going to get paid? Because it was thousands of people at each show. And, you know, then I had to really, really start focusing on, hey, well, this is the business side of what we do, you know. And the reason why I say that is because the powers that be, they stopped all that. And the number one reason they stopped it is because people were getting along. All races were vibing on the same thing. It was powerful. Jimi Hendrix and all of that showed them, and Sly and the Family Stone, the Woodstock, you could do that. The Staple Singers and all those brothers and Isaac Hayes out of Wattstack in California had showed the government, our government, hey, we don't need you and we ain't going to be violent. We can just get down. And the government obviously said, no, we can't have that. We can't have people getting along. Why would we want people getting along? So what did they do? They did exactly what they're doing now, which is the point of my story. Divide and conquer. And that's when you started seeing record labels and the record company become more dominant as far as things that artists wanted. You know, and every now and then a Michael Jackson or Prince would slip through and make it worth our while. But for the most part, those brothers had to work so hard to get their own. There are stories about Prince walking New York City, knocking on doors. Can you imagine Prince knocking on a door for a record deal? I mean, come on, really, Prince? You know what I mean? And this is how it was done. And because they don't want peace, love, and harmony amongst the races, so they started putting out this negative stuff. There was never a West Coast, East Coast war. That was all contrived so it could start something, which it did. Buy more records from Tupac or buy more records from Biggie. You see what I'm saying? So they're doing the same thing to you now. Wake up. You cannot be that sleep. I will not accept the fact that you're sleeping like that. That's unacceptable. Funk from the front seat, we do our thing on IBM.TV, but I will not accept the fact that you are sleeping on this. You can't be. This race should not even be this close. Why is it this close? What are people thinking about? The formula is in front of you. We have to make a change. We have to make a change. That's my opening monologue. We're going to get into this music thing. Hey, Mark, you back there for a minute. My producer, Mark Lee, excellent producer, run part 1 of one of those things that I pulled up, the history of Nappy Head. Just to set this up, we were the first black rock funk band. That's right, black rock funk or black funk rock band on Long Island to ever stream live. And everybody needs to know that. Even though the videos we did were more on the pop side, we were a funk band, so we used our pop side of us to get us in that door. We were the very first. We actually did make history. And I'm not tooting my own horn for myself. It's just for my guys and girls that were in the band that never got the credit for that they should have. And shame on you, Long Island, for doing that, because we were the first. We did it first at a company called Stream Ring out in Patchogue, and we went live. So I'm going to give you a little taste of that. Y'all can check that out. Go ahead, Mark, kick that up, and then we're going to come back and talk about it, and I'll tell you why we chose that song. There you go.
It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. Check it out. It's in my blood, as thick as mud. Every morning I wake up with a song on my mind. On my mind. I said, I don't know how it came to be, but the phone sure enough got a hold on me. And I keep singing, it's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. I got the phone, man. I said to everybody screaming.
I'm not exactly sure what happened there. It timed itself out. Don't know why. Don't know why Sir Nose is trying to work against us today. So Mark might going to take care of that while he's back there. I don't know what all that is on the screen or whatever, but maybe we'll figure it out. Not sure, but we're going to run that again. Anyway, the title of that song is called It's What I Do, It's What I Am, right? And the reason we had a lot of songs to pick from, we chose that song, number one, is because it speaks for itself. Because whatever you are, that's what you should do. If you're a doctor, just be a doctor. Stay in your lane. Don't come in mine, because I'm a funk artist. If you're into the funk thing, do that. If you're into taking care of people, like some of you first responders, mad shouts out to all my first responders out there. Y'all are all on the one, whether you work in a hospital, nursing home, or whatever. If you're good at that, just do that and do it the best you can. I'm not saying don't have other outlets, but we chose that song and we wrote that. And I penned those words. It's what I do. It's what I am. I can't help myself, because no matter what else I do, I'm a funk artist. That's what I am. I'm a funk artist. A lot of times people, they don't really understand what that means to be a funk artist. And you can't really explain it to people. And you can't explain to people what it means to be a funketeer. They may not get it because it may just go right over their head. So, being a funketeer is about peace and love. It's not about starting trouble. It's not about spreading gossip. It's not about saying negative things to people. It's not about saying things that are gonna get people in a frenzy. It's not about going places with machine guns and militia. It's not about shoot people in the back as they run by. It's not about beating people, snatching people of any races. And I shouldn't have to say that, but I have to, because people somehow feel like they're left out when they're not. But it's not about that. It's not about any of that. Being a funketeer is about peace, love, harmony, and unity. And that's what we promote here on IBM.TV. Peace, love, harmony, and unity. And that song is what I do. It's what I am. I can't help myself. It's for the everyday funketeer that works hard out there every day doing whatever it is they do, being a mom, being a dad, taking care of their family, understanding, the pitfalls of life, being able to survive off basically nothing all the time. And don't really matter if you're white or black, black people seem to catch the brunt of the worst of it, but it doesn't really matter because there are a lot of people out there that, from all races that are struggling. And I wrote that song for all you guys. It's what I do. It's what I am. The fireman, the policeman, the baker, the butcher, the candlestick maker. That's what that song is about. It's what I do. It's what I am. I can't help myself, In our case, it's a funk thing. What's going on, Mark? What's happening with that video?
Not much. I want to bring that video back up and everything. I don't know
Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up.
So let's rock it one more time.
Bring it up. What's happening, Mark, with that video? What's going on?
Yeah, Zach, it's rocking, and like I said, it was showing, it was playing and everything, and it was even saying it had sound on it, but you're saying that you don't hear it, so we're just gonna keep this
I
thing
don't see it.
rocking.
I don't hear it. It's
Hold
all
on.
good, though. It's all
All
good. Just if you're tuning in, we're having a lot of technical difficulties today on Funk Music with Zack. What's up, Lance? How you doing, man? Yeah, I remember when they was trying to say stuff about disco too. You know, Lance and I talk. I have no idea what's going on with the production. So maybe the video will be up, maybe it won't. But I was talking about that song. It's what I do. It's what I am. Because you know, we wrote that for the average working class funketeer that used to hang out and come see us all the time. And that's why it was very important. We did that live on Streamring. It was very, very important. So, you know, they liked it. They dug it. We were the first black rock funk band to actually go out live off Streamring on Long Island in New York. And they put that out there for us. And it was kind of cool. And we did a couple more for them, you know, which we're going to try to get to as soon as we can figure out what's going on with the video part of it. But anyway, for all my fans tuning in out there, Lance and Linda and Lynn, how you doing? You guys are awesome. We're having some really weird problems today. I have no idea what's going on. But people trying to call me now. Yes, I don't know if I could tell you. I wish I could, but we're going to keep things moving because that's what we do. What's up, Lance? How you doing, bro? Thanks for your prayers and all that good stuff, man. Shoulders getting better. So anyway, we had another song on there called God, you know, and that was the title, G-O-D. And the emphasis of the song was that God doesn't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. Now, I'm not saying you got to go to church. I'm not saying you got to go to a temple, synagogue, mosque, whatever. I'm just saying it lives inside of you. So that's what you need to get by, especially in these tough times. You know, we can't turn on each other. We just got to make sure that we're supporting each other. We're loving each other. I see too many people out there trying to turn on each other. What for? It doesn't make any sense. You know, it doesn't do anything but hurt another person. That's all it does. That's all it does. So remember that when you're out there about in the world this weekend and you see things that's, you know, you're not going to agree with everything, you know, you just keep it moving. Don't use your energy, your positive energy to turn and jump on somebody else about stuff because it's taken out of you. You know, God lives within. That's what it's about. That's what the world is about. Peace and love. Carl Sagan wrote a book called A Pale Blue Dot. I suggest everybody read it. And it looks at our world from space. And really, if you went to space and you looked at Earth, you'd be like, yeah, okay, it's just a pale blue dot. Why do they have all those problems down there? You know, why do they hate people because of their skin color? Why do they hate people because of the economics? Why do they hate people because they're straight or they're gay? Why do they hate people because, you know, they choose to love somebody that you don't agree with? You know, it's all crazy. Any rational human being would have long since gotten rid of everybody on planet Earth if they came from somewhere else, simply because we can't even figure ourselves out. We're just a biological speculation sitting here vibrating, and we don't know what we're vibrating about. And the animal instinct in me makes me want to defend me, makes me want to live when it's time to die. Y'all see my point? I don't mean to come on strong. I am concerned. I believe in God, and I know law and order will prevail. If by chance it's just, equal, and fair, you know, then the law of nature will come and do her thing. She does not think. She thinks by instinct. Survival is her thing. Y'all see my point? Funkadelic. Wasn't quoted exactly accurately, but yo, I'm deep into the Funkadelic. So y'all get on that. What's up, Lance? I see you out there. I had a few things pulled up for you, but now we're just basically running on the fly because nothing seems to be working right today. But you know what? I'm used to that too. Getting back to that funk thing on Long Island. Yes, Lance brought up a good point when he said, you know, the industry put this stuff out. Rock flows and disco blows. Disco sucks. When that movement came out, that was all about a racial divide because disco minorities and hip white people went to dance, and rock, all your redneck thugs and you know, your bikers, you know, went to rock most of the time. Now I went to rock concerts, but I'm a musician, so I was there for a different reason, not to start trouble. And I remember things happening with a disco club next to a rock club. And then all of a sudden, 2:00 in the morning, people are fighting just because of that one phrase, death to disco. It was a movement. It became a national movement. That wasn't, like Lance brought up, and thank you, Lance, for that. Good point. That wasn't by mistake. That was by design. Death to disco. Again, racially divided. And this is what the industry, the music industry, has a part in what our government is doing. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all to stay hip. Because when all of that was going on, little by little, they were making it impossible for the Earth, Wind, and Fires, the P-Funks of the world, the Frankie Beverleys of the world, to put their product out to the masses. And then MTV came out, and I knew it was a wrap, because MTV said, well, listen, we're going to program what you hear. We're going to let you watch it, but this is what you're going to hear. And only certain people are going to get on there. Quincy Jones had to fight to get Michael Jackson's Thriller and Prince's Little Red Corvette on MTV. True story. Look it up. They didn't even want black music on there. Now, how you going to have a music thing, right? TV channel with no black music? Then when they realized the profits of hip hop, what did you see? Yo, MTV Raps. See, it was all corporate. It's all by design, So people got to get hip to how corporate America and the evil things that they do have leaked and reeked over and raped over the music business. So artists don't really have a chance, not anymore. And the problems that I see all the time, when you look back in the day, I go back and I watch a lot of stuff, concerts, because I just like the vibe of it. There aren't mass explosions all over the place. Yeah, you got some pyrotechnics and some tricks, but other than that, cats were just playing straight music. If you take away the lasers and you take away the explosions and you take away all the smoke and the fog and the 5 different rising stages, and you take all that crap off the stage today, pound for pound, you put an artist up there, other than a few. There's a few out here now, but the majority, they ain't going to roll with that. Not like what we did in the 70s and the 60s and the early 80s. Not going to happen. It won't even be close because we didn't need all that stuff. We just played straight music. Now, what we did with the funk thing, obviously, we learned it from who? George Clinton, Bernie Worrell, Bootsy Collins, and all of the P-Funk All-Stars, way too many to name. We learned it from them, right? So we're like carrying on that next thing. And we tried to do what we did, and we got stuff out and did what we did. And it was important that people know. That's why when Stream Ring came with us with that live streaming thing, even though we didn't do P-Funk songs, I wanted people to know we were doing our very, very best that we could to represent Black funk artists of New York City. And that's what that was about. I don't know, Mark, if you have that video ready or not, but I'm determined to get a video in today. Funk Music with Zack live on IBM.TV. Y'all hanging out with us. Welcome to my world. Make sure you stay safe. Obviously, stay hydrated if you're out. Make sure you have your mask on and all that good stuff. Make sure you have hand sanitizer, yada, 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 yada. It's going to be up to all of us to make sure November 3rd, we pull this off. All right, here we go. We're going to try it one more time. See what happens, Mark. Let's make this play, baby. And this was done out in Patchogue, Matter of fact, it was done, if you guys know about Madonna, Paul Pesco, who wrote a lot of hits for her, it was done in his place. And he was really nice. When I met Paul Pesco, he was a really cool dude. He was all right. He was all right. It's what I do. It's what I am. You can see we're having streaming issues. I don't know if it's because everybody's on Wi-Fi today. I have no idea. Mine is fine, but on the production side, don't know.
It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. Check it out. It's in my blood, as thick as mud. Every morning I wake up with the song on my mind.
Brings back good memories.
I said, I don't know how it came to be, but the phone sure enough got a hold on me. And I keep singing, it's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. I got the funk, man. I say to everybody screaming, shout. We're gonna funk you inside out. R&B, drop the C. With a new funk nappy head. Breathe. All is as it should be. Yeah. I said we came to rock you all. Bumping on the one you should be. It's the design effect, that's all. And I keep singing, y'all. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. Yo, I got the funk, man. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. I got the funk. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. I got the funk, man. It's what I do, it's what I am. I can't help myself. We'll funk you any which way we can, any which way you like it. We'll funk you any which way we can, any which way you like it. We'll funk you any which way we can, any which way you like it. We'll funk you any which way we can, any which way you like it. We'll funk you any which way we can, any which way you like it.
I will funk you.
Which way we can, any which way you like it.
Yes, it's what I do. It's what I am. And we will funk you any which way we can, which means that we're going to try to uplift you. We're going to try to take you to the funk and bring it and bring it and bring it hard. And that was dedicated to, a lot of guys in my band who don't get that recognition for being the first funk black band on Long Island to stream out live. And that was streamed out live back in, 2000 something. I'm not really sure when. And you notice a lot of people, you see Andre LaSalle in that band. You see Kevin Harrington. You see John Groovalicious Willis. You see William Bush, Eric Pearl, Eric J, Gary Bordes. You see all these people in the band. The band was like, I didn't really have to play any instruments. So it was awesome, Then we had Cherie Snyder sitting in as a special guest too, and you'll see that on the next video when we do that thing called God. But anyway, when the music industry started realizing they could control things by manipulating the type of music and the type of energy that you receive, that's when again, West, East Coast, They had to put that out there. Like my man Lance brought up, the Death to Disco era. They had to put that out there. And they understood, yes, hip hop was a major economic commodity. So what better way to sell records than to create false rivalries? And again, I'll say it, creating a false rivalry. So you have to pick one. Back in the day, we never had fights and arguments over Parliament Funkadelic or Earth, Wind, and Fire. We just listened to them both. We never fought over Rick James or, Mother's Finest or Sly. We just listened to them all. So when the record industry realized a lot of these kids are followers and they became weak-minded, they was like, you know what? We're just going to create all these little riffs all around the world. And we're going to control the music industry that way. And then we're not going to allow artists to be independent. We're going to take away all of that and make it impossible, damn near, to put out the same product, whether it's good or it's bad, that somebody else can put out. And we're going to start slowly but surely chipping away at the ego, chipping away at how people feel, chipping away at the self-esteem by putting out this negative connotation of music, and they knew the kids were going to be weak and gravitate to it, and that's exactly what happened. And who foots the bill? The parents, because the parents got to buy all of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying, and I listen to Eminem, I listen to Tupac, I listen to Biggie, I listen to Prophet, I listen to all the rappers. I love them all. I'm not taking anything away from what their business side of it is. All I'm saying is the record industry has forced a lot of artists to go in directions they may not have wanted to go. Eminem said, listen, I tried to give them gospel. They didn't want it, So he had to come out with that other stuff. And that's manipulation of the music business. And that's partly what I want to talk about. I'll have a part 2 at some other point. Because today things got kind of all, messed up with the internet and, my guests and everything, but we'll still figure that out. Nothing don't stop the funk. And now here we are, 2020, and you see where we are in the streets riding. We haven't even thought about music. So whatever happened to, hey, let's put on a song, sit back, have a Corona, smoke a joint, and just chill and work our problems out that way? Whatever happened to having your neighbor come over for a barbecue? Whatever happened to, people say, hey, there's something going on at the park. Why don't we all go down there and hang out? Whatever happened to having a pickup game of basketball or stuff like that, as opposed to going out, breaking a store window and stealing stuff that technically you don't even really need? Number 1 is theft. Number 2, you can get shot, killed, hurt. And number 3, you're actually hurting the very economy that you're trying to build up. And this has always been a problem. You can't bite the hand that feeds you when the hand ain't even really feeding you, and you making it worse. And I understand. If anybody tells me I don't understand the anger as a black man, I don't know what to tell you. I do understand. I just choose not to go out and break shit. That's just me, because I don't see any need for it. I never understood that. I never understood being rowdy, getting into fights. Musicians always want to protect their hands. So you ain't going to see us out there acting crazy like that. You're not. Unless somebody really, really has to do something to us or our families for us to get in that mode. Most of the time, we protecting these bad boys right here. And for drummers, our feet too. And singers, your voice. You protecting these because that's your money. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's your money right there. So why am I going to put this in harm's way when I know the gift comes from above? I don't know. It's just me. I wish y'all would just dig up on that. And let me tell you, again, this race shouldn't be this close. I don't know what the world is going. I had no idea what y'all are doing out there. I was only in the hospital for a day and a half. I was only out of the loop for like a week. I come back, and then it's all this stuff. Come on, man, Funketeers. Y'all help get this thing right. We got to make this move. We got to vote November 3rd. We got to be down there. We got to have lines as long as from here to Alaska if we got to. Hey, yo, Mark, you back there, bro, man? You think you can run the other video right now? I'm talking to my producer, Mark Lee. I talk to him like he's right here in the house, but technically he's not. So, we just kicking it like that. He's watching me somewhere. Stay hydrated. Wear your mask. hand sanitizer, stay away from other people, and try to be smart. All you parents, I'm a parent, I got kids in school, do the best you can with your kids, love them, grandparents, love your kids, if you got nieces, nephews, and uncles, love them. That's what it is. It's about love. Got to teach people. That 17-year-old young man was taught that hatred by his parents, So what did they think was going to happen? Not only did he ruin 3 lives, but he also ruined his own. I wonder if his parents thought about that when they was prepping him with all of that BS stuff about racism. I wonder really, truly, in their heart of hearts, if their parents thought, you know what, this is really going to screw my son up. But, I don't care. This is how much I hate people. See what I'm saying? How can you have a logical mind doing that? To me, as I look back, I'm trying to be a hybrid and get on out of here to the next level, So why do we need violence involved in everything? I don't understand that. I never, even as a kid, I never understood that. I have no idea why we need violence involved in everything. Doesn't make any sense. Why do we need violence involved when people are trying to protest for their God-given human rights? The basic rights to not be treated like a freaking animal on this planet. And then I'm going to get shot too? We just did that 400 years ago. 300 years ago, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and now we're still doing it. We're not trying to elevate ourselves. We're really not. And that's the sad part. There are a lot of people on this planet, a lot of positive spirits that have been through things in their life that understand love is love, And if you don't understand love is love, you're going to keep continuing to do all these negative things as you follow a fool. And I'm going to say it again. Yeah, y'all following a fool. All right. Remember this. Somebody looking right at you, talking to you, telling you stuff, preaching stuff to you. You can't follow that man or woman. Can't be done. You have to follow a person. They have to have their back turned to you. They have to use what's called leadership skills. Then you follow. That's all I'm going to say. I'm waiting on this video to be pulled up. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today on Funk Music with Zack on IBM.TV. Today, our guest was supposed to be Mr. John Purvis out of New York, but he had difficulties getting down, his stream thing happening from New York. So we'll figure that out. We're going to have him on again. But I do want to tell y'all, next week, I got Benevolent Funk, Otis Hawk, next Etzik coming back, and they're going to hang out with us. And the week after that, on my Saturday show, Funk from the Front Seat, I got Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. So that's going to be hot. They're going to be going live. So it's going to be tight. So, we still got things popping. Obviously, we're going to keep you in tune with what's happening as November gets closer to us. We're going to make sure that everybody stays safe. If you have a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you have an anniversary, happy anniversary to you. If you have something special going on, a special event, something I should know about, there you go. It's special for you. And I believe, here we go.
Everybody get up.
We could jump back then. I don't think we jumping now. We might, though. You never know.
Don't worry about the funk. All the funketeers will continue to shine. Don't worry about the funk. All the funketeers will continue to shine. Funk went around the rosy. I got a pocket full of funk posies. Ashes, ashes, all fall down. Funk went around the rosy. I got a pocket full of funk posies. Ashes, ashes, all fall down. Now don't you worry about the funk. All the funketeers will continue to shine. Don't worry about the funk. All the funketeers will continue to shine. Right here. infection all over the world. Can't you see? Gonna be a funk infection in the year 2003. Gonna be a funk infection all over the world. Can't you see? Gonna be a funk infection in the year 2003. If you like nappy head bumping in your trunk, say yeah. Say yeah. If you feel nappy head bumping in your trunk, say oh yeah. Say oh yeah. If you like nappy head bumping in your trunk, say yeah. Say yeah. If you feel nappy head bumping in your trunk, say oh yeah. Funky won't let us say, but we're gonna play anyway. Funky won't let us say, but we're gonna play anyway. Funky won't let us say, but we're gonna play anyway. Funky won't let us say, but we're gonna play anyway. Warning, the Surgeon General has determined a lack of funk used to exist all across America. Not anymore.
That's right, funk infection. That was 2003. So that was like 17 years ago. This is called God. Check it out.
Get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. We're gonna get up. Gonna get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. We're gonna get up.
Special guest vocal, Cherie Schneider.
Get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. I'm gonna get up. Gonna get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. Gonna get up.
Always on the one. Thank you, Bootsy. Yeah.
You can't keep my card, but you can't drink from his well. God is my devotion, as deep as the ocean. Once go to church with us, you can pray a little bit with us. One thing that you'll always find, that in God and love we trust. God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. We must teach them the righteous way. You know the simple says to us that it won't be long before day. Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Be careful what you hope for. Remember we said it. Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Be careful what you hope for. Remember we said God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. God don't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need. We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. We don't
Lance, back in the day, right? Remember?
but we always get what we need.
Just trying to let people know what's going on. And that was back then. We got some stuff out now as well. Hopefully, we can get it out if we get the funding we need, Linda.
Gonna get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. Gonna get up.
Spiritual funk. We were the first.
Everybody, praise God, everybody. Gonna get up. Gonna get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. Gonna get up. I hear you, sister. Gonna get up, everybody. Praise God, everybody. Gonna get up.
That's right. That's right. And thank you for all the kind comments. And you're right. We was talking about how the record label Quincy Jones and like Linda just said, they had to threaten to pull all their stuff off MTV in order to get black artists on there. So again, the circle keeps going. But when we're going to even this thing out? And we're going to have a part 2 to this segment because it's time for me to run in a minute. But I just wanted to give a mad shout out to all the people hanging out with us on the thread. Linda, love you. Lance, love you. Lynn, love you. All my Funketeers out there, David Brooks, and all the people that support Funk from the Front Seat and Funk Music with Zack on IBM.TV, my Saturday show, my Sunday show. Thank you. I'm glad I gave you some positivity because that's what I'm trying to do. Preach love, peace, and harmony. That's what we need. If we do not, then we are surely doomed. And we cannot let the naysayers just stop us from being who we are, which is positive, loving, beautiful people. We were put down here for that. Not war, not to shoot people in the back 7 times. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. So keep this in mind as you go out this weekend. Know that there's a home for you here at IBM.TV. Always support, our sponsors. And just remember that I'm not sure why that's so big, but just remember, go out to the dollar store. And Lynn will tell you some more about that coming up later on. And you can check it out and go to IBM.TV website. There's a big green button over there if you're colorblind and press on the button, and you can get some great bargains. So go to the dollar store and help support IBM.TV. But yes, I'm reading all the comments. And you're right, Lance. The government right now, they put a chokehold and a strangulation move on everything, including our necks. Okay? So what we have to do as artists, which a lot of us are doing, and a lot of us, you're going to be seeing a lot of independent artists dropping music over the next 6 months, Nappy Head Funk Army included, because they can't stop us. They can't stop us. We're still going to write positive music. We're still going to put it out, and we're still going to preach peace, love, and harmony for one another. All races. Now, let me make sure y'all hear this so nobody feels left out. All races matter, but I don't want to have to keep saying it because it's a given. Okay? All races matter. Remember that. You heard me say it. So don't anybody send me a text or post later. It says I didn't say that because that's not true. What I'm saying is we gotta level the playing field. Yes, LeBron James is taken care of. Yes, Cardi B's taken care of. Puff Daddy and Snoop Dogg. Yes, they're all taken care of. And God bless them. Good for them. But helping the community around you is what you need to do. Go help your neighbor. Go see if your neighbor needs some water. Go help somebody pull groceries out of their car. Walk an old lady or old man to their apartment and keep it from tripping and falling. Let somebody have your seat on the bus if you're younger or the train. You need to do all of these things just to make the world a better place. You need to do everything that Paul McCartney, one of my favorite bands, the Beatles, said. John Lennon said it. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. And you better get that into your head. People in the United States, I don't know about the world. I'm just telling you where I live at. We are doomed if we do not fix this problem. And I'm going to leave it at that. Funk from Music with Zack, IBM.TV. I see all the producers beaming in, my funk family. I love y'all out there today. I had to come back kind of hard because I missed 3 live shows because of my surgery. So I'm back, and I even shouldn't be back. I should be in bed right now. But I'm here because I care, because I want to fix this problem. And I can't handle the stress anymore. And we can fix this problem. We know what we got to do. Make sure y'all vote November. Peace and love. I'm going to take y'all out with this. So y'all check this out. I'm going to take you out super, super hard. Bootsy Collins in the house. Throw your hands up in the air. Boom. Funk music with Zack. Get them side to side like this.
From the silver screen to HD to Blu-ray, tell me what I say. Oh, let's hear it for Samuel L. Jackson, a.k.a.
Super Sunday, y'all. This is how we roll. I got all my funk fam in the house. Tim's in the house. Lynn's in the house. Jim's in the house. Hankin's in the house. Mark is in the hit house.
When I was a kid, when I got up in the morning.
Hey, Zach, what did you say about all races? Hey, Zach.
Yo.
What'd you say about all races? I didn't hear it.
All races matter. So this way, nobody can never say they do matter. But I don't want to have to keep saying it because it's a given. All races matter. So don't hurt people.
What's the best race? What's
the human race?
Human race. That's right. Woo!
Human race. So you know,
I got that when I was in LA, and we were having this big, huge rap session and just having a blast, and everybody was out dancing, and that's what we were all about. Was let's all join together and have a good time. I'm going to try to pull that video because it was so cool.
Hey, Zach, I could see you. I can still jump. It's the landing that I have a problem with now.
My jumping days are over.
Yeah.
You know what? Not in our hearts and minds. You know, they can't take a lot of that away. But you know what? It's our spirit, and that's what we have to emphasize and inspire people. Like you said, get out there and vote, people. Get out there and vote. Just do it. Do what's right, and don't let things stop you from voting. Just and don't go, oh, well, they got it, they're winning anyway attitude. No, this is what I tell all my kids. This is the one time your voice matters in this country. One time, and it doesn't matter if it conflicts with my vote. It's your vote. That's. I don't even try to push my kids to vote my way because that's not freedom, right? That is not freedom. I try to, share my knowledge, but their knowledge might be different than mine. And so just freedom to vote. Gotta vote.
Gotta
vote. Mark, what's your input on that?
Yep, definitely got to get out there and vote. There's no doubt about that. I'm seeing a lot of folks that are mobilizing their forces and trying to get folks out to vote. I was actually watching a little bit of the NBA games over the weekend. Actually, catch 2 of them this evening, and I know that all the athletes and Zack actually just talked about it, but a lot of them are out there trying to get the vote to go as well. So I know a number of them were out there definitely encouraging folks to vote, and they were making sure that it was known, not just saying it on their jerseys, but also making verbal announcements about it as well. So they were definitely telling folks to get out there to vote. I'm sure that there were folks that were mobilizing folks at the Kentucky Derby. I actually did not get a chance, unfortunately, to watch the Kentucky Derby. And I don't think your horse won, Kimberly, because I know you had picked a horse, and I think that horse, unfortunately, did not win. It came in third. It looks like.
No, I picked 3. My horse came in second. I always pick 3.
All
so
right.
I'm your typical horse better. Although you can't bet in North Carolina, so I don't bet in North Carolina. But I do bet with friends. But 3, my horse came in second. So
I mean,
Not bad.
that's usually some money involved in that when the horse comes in second. So that's good. But I do know that a number of folks are out there mobilizing at that event as well. You know, I'm still not used. I don't know about the rest of y'all on the panel, but I'm enjoying having sports back to some degree. But it's kind of weird seeing like folks watching from their homes, watching from their TV sets, and kind of like this virtual world of watching sports. So, like I said, I know we're in the playoffs right now with basketball. We've got the playoffs coming up with baseball very shortly. I'm hoping my Brewers will do something, but right now they're out of the race. I think they're 2 or 3 spots back. But Lynn, you got something to say?
Yeah, I just you know, a lot of the stadiums have these cardboard people that are there,
Right.
And Philadelphia is very famous for back in one of the football games booing Santa Claus when he came on. So early on in the season, the Phillies were playing really poorly, and the cardboard fans were booing the Phillies playing.
Only in Philly.
Only in Philly. You know, it just happens that way. And by the way, can we give a moment of prayer for the Philadelphia Flyers who lost last night? They're out of the playoffs. So anyway, maybe next year is the next year. But no, and they lost a team from somewhere, and I just can't remember where. What place was that, Jim? I would expect.
It wasn't a capitalist place.
I was expecting Zack to jump in and say the team from where?
Not me.
The New York, the Islanders.
Oh, the Islanders. That's my squad.
That was my team. Yeah. Everybody around me was a Rangers fan or a Bruins fan. I was the only Islanders fan.
Just record this point in history. I will say that the Islanders had the better team. Okay.
Well, back in the 70s, we won 4 in a row.
Don't you dare, Jim. Don't you dare.
Okay, I'll put it away.
What were you saying, Zach? You were saying y'all won 4 in a row back in the
5 in a row. We went 5 times, won 4 straight. It was the drive.
Mike Bossy.
Yes. So that's when they were big on Long Island. And technically, you could actually get a ticket back then for $22. So actual people could actually go see it. And this was before cable and all of that. So I never really went, but I was an Islanders fan because I just lived on Long Island. Hockey was never my thing, but I like to see when people do what they do on skates. I consider that a degree of difficulty that most people can't do. And I think that's insane what they do on skates. But I think with the sports thing, because so many people, I guess, need it to fill their life and make them feel normal, I think it's a good thing. I just think it's freaky that they're spending so much money on these tests for these people. That's the only problem I have. Other than that, they can play to the live long. I don't care. But I think, hold on now, you testing these people 2-3 times a week, and then I got people dying. I'm not really want to get with that just yet because I know both sides. I understand. I know what both sides are trying to do, but I can't have people dying next to a stadium and you're testing, I don't know, some hockey player or basketball player, or, you know, you're going to test this guy like 5 times a week. They got to get some balance with that. That's my only problem.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, Zach, I have to talk about back when the Islanders won 5 times in a row. Okay, their goalie was a kid by the name of Richter. Okay, yes. And Richter went to the same high school where my son and daughter went here in Philadelphia, and was actually related to an oncologic radiologist who's a very good friend of ours.
Okay.
So it's sort of interesting. So I didn't root against the Islanders in those days, only when they played the Flyers. But other than that, you know.
They were the little engine that could. Nobody believed in us.
Yeah, they were good back in those days.
And then they passed the torch to Edmonton Oilers, and they ran 4 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, so it's different now. You know,
that's the Wayne Gretzky era. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Wayne Gretzky, definitely an amazing hockey player, was definitely just great in the game, definitely a true legend. One of the things I got to say that I was glad about the voting and the at least the NBA is I understand that a lot of the major coliseums are actually going to be voting sites. So they actually opened up voting sites where folks can come and vote there and everything. So I think Staples Center is one. I think the one in Houston, but a number of the major sites will be voting sites as well. So they'll
At
be
least
able
the voters know the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had said that 2 months ago. They should have did that. Just get it ready now. But I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say, Tom Seaver, Mr. Met. I'm a Met fan.
Wow.
Rest in peace. Number 41 passed away last week.
Greatest.
One of the greatest. So I just wanted to put that out there for all my Mets fans. I didn't forget Mr. Seaver. But go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Definitely, that's a legend that was definitely passed and definitely needs to be remembered. There's no doubt about that. One of the things that I just learned recently that I did not know is, a lot of sports have been canceled. One of those being the Olympics. And I was catching online where they were saying that one of the sports that was going to be in the Olympics for the first time ever was going to be surfing. Now, it's not a sport that I'm really good at, but I just thought that was amazing that they were going to have surfing as a sport in the Olympics. And I think this is going to be the first time ever that surfing was included in the Olympics. So they're hoping
cricket, Ankit, before cricket, surfing.
Cricket? What's cricket?
Hey, Kimberly, have you noticed that every time we talk sports, it always comes back to Philadelphia when Lynn's on? Somehow there's always a Philadelphia.
Wait a minute. Cricket. Philadelphia was the home of cricket back in the 1800s.
There you go.
Okay. So I mean, we have three clubs around here that are still named. One is Germantown Cricket, one is Philly Cricket, okay, and one is I can't remember the other, Murray Cricket. Yep. Murray Cricket. Okay, and they were very big in the cricket world back in the 1800s. So. And then somebody realized that it was really three sports because it includes bowling. So because you have bowlers, and it also includes croquet because you have wickets. So people said, how can we root for three sports when somebody says you're playing one sport? So Ankit, you never can respond to that, can you?
Well, Ankit, is cricket an Olympic sport?
Not yet an Olympic sport, but we are working on that, and maybe in 2028 it would be a part of Olympics.
But I'm still a little puzzled that surfing can be an Olympic sport and cricket isn't. I don't understand that.
Because of the length of the game, and they want a shorter game, so now we have a shorter game like 2020.
I get
that we can apply for it, but cricket is not concerned about Olympics because we have World Cup and we have a lot of other sports, and there's a schedule. And the schedule is not matching with Olympics because Olympics require 3 months of no cricket, which is not possible. Because if you talk about cricket, we have like 10-year future program, FTP. Future 2 program is already ready for next 10 years.
Oops. Kimberly.
I think I'm having a very poor time.
Ankit's frozen.
There we go, Ankit.
Bandwidth. All right, so there's a good reason why cricket's not an Olympic sport, is what you're saying.
Well, I
You're
want
working
to
on it.
add something
There are some problems.
What has been in the horizon, and I hope he comes back. What has been in the horizon and in the making, especially with technology, is esports. Yes. And I'm interested in seeing where it's evolving too, because I work with a lot of VRX people down in Miami. But over COVID, the length of COVID, gentlemen, because I work with a lot of people who are big in inventing and people who are investors, right? A combination. And so a big investor that I was talking with in the beginning of COVID, he's investing in a new esports. And I thought this was interesting because another one in California, guess what he called me about? Guess what I'm investing in, Kim? Esports. So I go, are you investing in the one in New York? And he goes, no, I didn't know about that one. So we're going to see this huge explosion probably in the next 3 to 6 months by Christmas, esports. What it involves is probably a lot of VR and interaction with people wearing the VR helmets and body gear. There's VR body gear now. So I'm interested in seeing where this is heading. but it is going to be taking us into the new technology era. So,
Hey,
esports.
Kim, speaking of IBM TV and everything, you know that we have somebody that is involved with esports that is on this network on a regular basis, and that is Jacoby that does the Gamers Den. So he actually is
Yes,
involved with
Jacoby.
sports and actually has done some esports tournaments here in the Triangle area. So he's been ahead of the curve and everything. But I've got a question for Lynn and everything. But I said surfing was a new sport. Do you know another new sport that was going to be coming to the Olympics in 2020? If we had a 2020 Olympics, of course, that was postponed or canceled. But do you know another sport that was about to be introduced? And this one might shock you.
I'm already shocked. What is it, Mark?
Well, Lynn is a big fan of baseball. Believe it or not, baseball and softball were going to be introduced into the Olympics 2020. So quite popular in Japan. Softball is definitely part of different sports, definitely in Japan, and definitely a global sport, as is baseball. But apparently they have not been in the Olympics. So both men and women were going to be playing baseball and softball at the Olympics 2020. And the other four sports that they were going to introduce, in addition to surfing, were going to be karate, it was going to be sports climbing, and they were going to bring skateboarding to the Olympics this year. But I was actually shocked when I saw that, as popular of a sport as baseball has been for years and decades and even centuries here in America, and it's a global sport, that it had not been in the Olympics. So they were going to bring baseball to the 2020 Olympic Games. So that was going to be a very popular sport globally that they were going to bring to the area and everything. And that actually comes back to Ankit and everything. So maybe after we get baseball, we can get cricket. So like I said, we're going to get baseball, then we can definitely get cricket as well, because I know he's a big time cricket fan. So like I said, if we're going to have baseball, we can definitely include cricket.
Come on. Baseball, we already have the World Series, and it's a little cheeky that only U.S. teams qualify. Unless you can, count a Canadian team.
Or World Series, and only the U.S. can participate.
The World Series. Come on, we already got it. We don't need the Olympics.
That's not true. Toronto.
Right, we got the World Games.
Toronto won.
I said Canada, 1 or 2 teams. There was the Montreal team.
Yeah.
But also every 4 years they play the World Games, and they play it down in Cuba. And they have all the different baseball teams from around the world playing that. It's just not recognized as a Olympic thing, but they do it either the year before or the year after the Olympics. So they do have something set up for that, and maybe that's where it's going. But yeah, you're right. Over here, the World Series.
I just think it's a little cheeky of us to say it's the World Series.
Yeah.
Always is. Yeah, totally.
Well, it's very popular in Japan. Very popular in Korea, actually becoming popular in Australia. I don't know whether you know that everybody talks about Hank Aaron and then Barry Bonds breaking Babe Ruth's home run record, but there is a Japanese player who hit, I think, more than 100 home runs than any of them did, and that was Sudahari Oh. And so when people ask me, how is it, I've got to get this correct. Is everything well? And I always say, well, last I heard, right? Anyway, I didn't say that right, but no, Sudahari Oh was a fabulous, fabulous baseball player.
And we've got a lot of Japanese players coming to the United States to play. There's a guy in the Dodgers who I haven't seen because he plays for the Dodgers, but he's a two-way player. He can pitch and hit.
There are. But I want to tell you what I wish had happened, and of course, obviously, you can't turn back the clock. But back in the 1800s, there was probably 1870s, there was a very great black baseball player, and I can't remember his name. And then racism got into it, and they banned the black players from the leagues. And it was a shame because there were so many wonderful back in the days of the old Kansas City Monarchs.
Some of the best.
Josh Gibson, the catcher, was just a fabulous ball player. Wonder what Satchel Paige, who did get a chance to pitch in the big leagues, would have been like if he'd been able to pitch, when he was in his prime. It
He was
just
good in his 40s.
Yep, and so I mean that's sad, but that's of course history. And the good news is that we are where we are today with the sport, and we're getting a lot more people from all over the world are getting the chance to play in the big leagues. But maybe, Jim, maybe one of these days we'll be able to include in the World Series people from teams from Japan, teams from I think Taiwan has some good ball teams. Teams from all over the world, and then it becomes truly a World Series.
And you have something to say about this global phenomenon?
So what I wanted to say is that I'm not sure the media is covering the news, but Olympics would be handling in Japan in 23rd July 2020, and now it's postponed for 1 year, and now it's started in 24th July 2021, and no one is covering that news. I don't know why, because Olympics is something where the world connects and be a part of one world and people talk about. And then in India, we are not that good Olympics team, but we generally follow all the US games back in India because we are just not on the top 5 table tallies in Olympics. But we follow Olympics like anything, and it's like a 2-month amazing entertainment. Watching the games and watching the players and sportsmen around the world with the skill level and the skill set. And then people think that when they will get a chance to be a part of an Olympian, because Olympic medal is something different, and to be a part of Olympics is a different story, and that is also a glory moment for all of us. But on the other hand, before 2020, Olympics cancelled 3 times earlier, and that happened because of World War and all those stuff. But this time it happened because of a pandemic, which never happened earlier. So that is something a trivia, given that it was delayed for 1 year.
And speaking of the Olympics, and I hope this does not impact them too much, but we also need to pray for our folks there in Japan because they are actually in the middle of a typhoon that is coming their way. So they're actually planning to evacuate millions. They said the authorities have warned of record-breaking winds and rainfall from Typhoon Taishin, which has already brought down power lines and disrupted travel in the region. So they're already trying to mobilize millions. Japanese authorities earlier today ordered more than 1 million residents of Western Japan to seek shelter as a major storm lashed the coast with high winds and threatened record-breaking flooding. So it looks like they are definitely about to be under some very serious weather, as local officials have ordered 1.8 million people to evacuate 7 prefectures across the region and recommended that 5.6 million others across 10 prefectures seek shelter ahead of the storm, which was expected to pass by Japan without making landfall and head toward South Korea. So definitely serious weather is coming their way. So our prayers definitely need to go with them because it looks like serious weather.
I want to go get back to baseball. I had a comment that we were talking about the old players. Jackie Robinson, of course, to me was one of the all-time greats, but also it came in when racism was a big issue. Who did he sign on with? But of course, the Dodgers, right? And one of my favorite movies. I love baseball movies. Oh my God, Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, but 42, right? 42 was probably my all-time favorite baseball movie. Please go out and watch it. Over the weekend, it's a great movie about a great player. But guess who played him? Chadwick Boseman, right? And what a great way to remember a great actor. And remember all of the things that we are striving for, because that's what he did. He strived for the very best in his life, and he struggled. He made a lot of sacrifices. And in fact, I think I'm going to go watch that movie tonight. But, we're talking about baseball, and we're talking about the things that are we've struggled through with no Olympics. But now look at Japan. I've got many friends over in Japan, so I need to reach out to them and make sure they're okay. But again, stay off of the networks during this time so that the emergency teams can handle everything. Try to use your social media accounts as much as possible, but let them. This is sad because this happens to them so very often. I mean, Japan takes a beating by nature routinely.
Well, we're seeing extreme weather all around the world now.
Yeah.
So there might be a common denominator about that. You know,
Yeah.
why are we seeing such incredibly extreme weather patterns everywhere?
So I was talking to a friend in Santa Barbara the other day. In fact, that reminds me, I have to send him an email. And he has been evacuated 5 times because of fires.
Yep.
One of the last fires that fortunately didn't hit his house came up to 300 feet from his house, and his house was saved. And the one last year came within 2 blocks. People 2 blocks from him, from where he lives, were evacuated. I mean, I know, Jim, you live in the middle of some of this, and a lot of those fires are north of you in Napa Valley, but then there's some in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which are south of you, and you know, it's really amazing. I was asking this fella if he was worried about fires this year, and his comment was, "There's nothing to burn; it's all been burned." So in his area, but that doesn't mean in other areas of California. I mean, some of these fires have engulfed areas that are bigger than the state of Rhode Island, which isn't a major league big state, but it's still big enough. I mean, you think about how big those fires are, and think of all the homes that people have lost, everything that they have, memorabilia and everything that were in their homes, and it's all gone.
I just had a friend post a fire he's there, and it's just like a block and a half away from his house, the big fire.
Wow.
And I'm telling him, please just move out, because he has a little baby boy.
Oh.
And I'm just like, you know, if you need, you know, move here. Just move. I'll find a place for you, but don't stay there, because those fires, when they shift, that's it. You can't. You
Right. Can't outrun a fire.
You cannot control these fires. And I know firemen who have died in these, you know, especially when they become one of those, what they call
like a fire tornado.
Fire funnel. It's a fire funnel.
Yeah.
And so when the winds are blowing a certain way and they become a fire funnel, that's it. I mean, they because they're so hot, right? They're not even fueled by gasoline. They're fueled by their its own oxygen at this point. And, you know, and I have friends who are firemen there, and they haven't rested in weeks.
And Kit?
And Kit.
So, Jim, can we have a solution for like fire for California and Amazon fire as well? Because we need to come up with a solution, because we can't just see, I mean, forests are like dying like this in front of our eyes. Because if you go to Amazon fire, that fire is going on from past like couple of months as well, and we don't have a solution. And if you get a chance, just search on YouTube about ice stupa, which happened in Ladakh, in one of our states in Himalayas. And what they do is they create a stupa during the winter, and then the stupa gives a lot of water during the summer, because they don't have water. So likewise, if we do something automatically to prepare some kind of water, and that water will be useful for those forests, I think we should come up with a solution, because if it happens like this, I mean, you won't be having any forests in future.
Well, I wish I had the solution for you, Ankit, but I can tell you we can stop pumping CO2 into the air and methane into the air, because this is all related. These extreme weather patterns are related to the man-made pollution that is in the air. And one of the fascinating things about the pandemic is that we're now seeing things like the Himalayan mountains that were invisible before. There's visibility that we did not have before, because we are not pumping these things into the air anymore. So there is a one-on-one correlation between that. If we stop attacking Mother Nature will not attack us. And so this is also, it's not as important as the fires and the evacuations, but I don't know if you can see this. But you see, that's the moon, but right under it, that's Mars. I show you that because I haven't been able to see any planets for months because of all the smoke in the air.
Right.
And so we have moderate in the morning, and then it gets unhealthy in the afternoon. And people with any kind of conditions should not be out. And we want people to exercise. We want them to be able to walk. Well, they can't, not in unhealthy air conditions. And so I saw Venus and Mars today for the first time in a very, very long time. And probably won't be able to see it tomorrow. I don't know what, but I still can't see stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. I have a friend who lives in Soquel, which is right east of Santa Cruz, and when he goes out of his house, he gets drenched in ash, which comes from the fires in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which for him are fortunately northwest of Santa Cruz, but still, it's I can't imagine the air quality has got to be horrible out there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
in the morning we can, like Ankit taught me, you can open the doors and air out the house, but it very quickly becomes unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Getting back to what Jim said about catastrophes or the word, I don't know what word you use, but we're having all of these weather events, major weather events. And a lot of people have, again, made that into something that doesn't have to be political. Science is not really necessarily a political thing. And we've lost how much off the polar caps, and it throws off the birds, and the eco cycle is all screwed up. And then you got tornadoes, fires, floods, and then you have some places that are just like burning up with heat. Like, well, it's 130 degrees in Arizona, something like that. And there was no fire, no nothing. It was just pure heat that they said they had never felt the likes of before. So my thing is, okay, how do we take something that is not a political thing, get it out of the hands of the political people and give it to common sense people? How do we do that? Because until we do that, we're screwed. And it doesn't matter Republican, Democrat. I'm just saying, how do we take the tangible thing that we need, which is we got to fix our environment, and not make that a thing where people have to fight over it? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You're so right, Zach. We definitely need to do that. And it's just crazy, some of the things that we're seeing even in the world and everything. I was actually just recently talking to some friends of mine that live out in the West Coast, and they actually brought up the fact that in one of the cities where one of our producers lives at, they're actually going to be doing their show later on in this area, talking upstream. But where they live at in Colorado, they're about to have what amounts to, I think, a 70-degree swing in 2 days, because it's supposed to be close to like 100 degrees today or tomorrow, and then by Monday or Tuesday it's supposed to be down to like around 30 or 35 degrees. So they're supposed to have a 70-degree swing in a matter of 2 days. That's just incredible to me that we're having these kind of drastic swings in this day and time.
But that's happened before in Colorado. I've seen it be one temperature in the morning. In the afternoon, it gets really, really hot, and then at night, you're below freezing again. So Colorado has that, and Salt Lake City can do that too.
Yeah, but weather is not climate.
Well,
right.
We know
climate changes have occurred, and if I've been watching, reading the National Geographic for years about this, right? How do we take it out of the politicians' hands?
Right.
People have been doing that for years, but the problem is it costs money. It takes regulation sometimes, but it takes people agreeing, shut down those smokestacks, right? Stop polluting the water. It takes people, but people with money, they're allowed to do these things. And it took a huge move, and I forget what country it was in. I'll have to go pull it. But they've got 7 nuclear stacks stopped. They no longer use them. They found another means to produce their power. But that took a lot of money. That took a lot of political pull. But like you said, Zach, why are our politicians controlling the air we breathe and the sun? Why do they control whether I can have solar connect to my house? That
Agreed. Yeah,
That
that's
bothers
crazy.
me.
It's crazy.
That I can't connect solar to my house unless the government's involved. That's
But
wrong.
But here's one thing, Kimberly, that, and I said this once before in the store, people don't seem to understand. Everybody's talking about let's not pollute the country. Let's not pollute the country. So let's go all electric vehicles. Well, first of all, batteries themselves are dangerous, and actually the components of batteries are much more polluting than people understand. But then you've got to create the electricity. And to do that, you have to create more electricity than we have now. And 40% of our power generation is based upon coal, which is pollution, which causes pollution. So people don't understand conceptually that by going to all electric vehicles, they're creating more pollution than if we figured out how to use biofuels. And I think we've talked about this. Obviously, the best fuel, when somebody finally figures out how to do it, will be the hydrogen, because when you burn hydrogen, it turns into water. So there's nothing polluting about that. Or something like algae, which is a very good combustible material. And if we take algae off of the ponds and the streams and the rivers, we're actually doing a service to the ecology by getting rid of the algae. The algae. But by burning corn, we're taking food away from people. I just don't understand. Things don't make sense to me. But
you're not alone in shaking your head on that subject. As Jeff from Wednesday shows tells us all the time, if you grew hemp, hemp you can grow and take the product from it in a span of a few years. Instead, we're cutting down trees, which take forever to grow. So, there's a lot of ways that we could be smart about this, but we're stuck in old patterns where not old people, sorry, Lynn, old generations have been stuck in doing things a certain way, and they can't change their mind and their approach because they see, well, how am I going to make money? Because I'm making money off of taking down these trees. Why would I want to grow hemp and then use that for the same purpose?
Well, let's go to Holmes. Holmes Stoner creates homes that can be built in hours almost.
Fraction of a time, and he can roll them out all across the country.
And he can't get them approved by the local zoning and building inspectors. It's
so mixed up.
Because I know tiny homes.
But here's the thing, though. People like us on this panel, we think globally. We're thinking about each other. We love each other. We care about other people. And yes, even though we all have corporate stuff, or whatever, or music, or whatever businesses, right? It's like you're thinking about somebody else when you want to do what that gentleman did with the homes, or like what Kim is trying to say, hey, I can do my own thing with my soul stuff. You're always thinking about another person. So until we get that mindset, they're never going to change. So we don't waste energy on people that aren't going to do it, because they're just not going to do it. But we got to try to figure out ways around them. And like you said, Jim, they're always going to be thinking about how they're losing money. A millionaire, this guy I knew, once told me, listen, he said, I don't think in terms of how much I'm going to make on every deal. He said, I'm always thinking in terms of how much am I losing if I don't do the deal. And this was a major millionaire, owned record companies, owned, grocery stores, food lines, chains, supermarkets, owned everything. And he said, I'm always thinking about how I'm going to lose money. He said, I already know what I got. And see, with the Bill Gateses of the world and all these people, everybody's trying to do all this great stuff. That's great. But there are everyday people out here struggling right now that have great ideas like him, and they can't get approved. Like you said, Lynn, the guy can't get his thing approved. Jim, they can't get approved. So it's almost like you're damned if you do because you still want to do it. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA to help people. But at the same time, you know deep down in your heart, like the guy who invented the thing that Lynn's talking about, I seen that. I seen the algae machine because I watch a lot of those documentaries. I seen the machine he's talking about where the car can run on water. The guy did it in New York and California. He put a gallon of water in. And then I seen the one where the guy was taking the cooking oil from old McDonald's and putting it in, and Burger King. And they're using this, and the government's like, no, but you can't do that. But the guy's like, I'm telling you, this works. I'm doing it, you know? And there was out of
the science is there, Zach.
It is. And out of necessity, we have to figure out ways to bring this new life to this other stuff because they're never going to just let us do it.
No, in Iceland, they utilize the diesel in the manner that you're speaking of, where they take and recycle oil. Sometimes they even grow the oil to do that, Zach. So those are brilliant things that the cities themselves do. That's how they cleaned up the country, air and everything. My nephew was doing the same thing, but the thing is to get somebody to back it and make it more affordable. I mean, I think he even built some kind of thing that filtered the oil so he could put it in his diesel car. So there are so many things we could do, but regulations just makes it so blasted tough. And like you said, how do we get around it? Like if I install solar on my house and I don't do it through the government and the utilities company, I can be arrested. I'll be fined and I can be arrested. Florida has even tougher rules because more and more people were going off grid, basically is what they call it. Yeah. And the government doesn't want that to happen.
Utility companies won't make money off of you.
So we did invent a tool, the H2 that I love. It's portable. You can use it in your own whole house. You don't have to go off grid, right? You don't have to go off grid. But it is an attachable solution. We built it, and it's invented and patented so that it can be, scalable to take care of your whole house. Very affordable. I had somebody come and give me an estimate from Duke Power and the government of how much they would solar our house. $85,000.
Oh.
Now I ran a one panel, from the invention we have, right? And that one panel and a stack of batteries will run a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, right? So you're pumping water too. So we already know we could do it for half the cost, but they're like, oh, we're going to have to put, X amount of panels on the roof, and because the sun's over here and it's going to, on and on and on. And I'm like, I got this portable unit, $2,500.
Well, we have the science, we don't have the political will. And we're still pouring the political capital into the fossil fuel industry. So, we've got a long way to go. And I'm just hoping that kids growing up today who will have the power in the future are learning these lessons. And so that maybe my generation will never see it, but maybe they will.
Well, part of the problem is the political action committees, because the PACs have so much money and they represent the people. The people who are keeping us from doing the things like Kimberly wants to do with solar energy, or the use of all the stuff from McDonald's, all